In today's video, I'm going to use two products that in my opinion are great for temporary repairs. Over here on the left we have JB Weld steel stick. This is an epoxy putty that dries to extreme hardness. I don't do product placement, this is just the product I'm using. And hose clamps. These are great. Any do-it-yourselfer should have these in your toolbox. Another great tool I want to mention too is tie wraps, or some people call them zip ties. They're great for really temporary things where you want to secure something, and very simple. You put this in like that and pull it through. I'll show you in a second. It won't go that way, it'll only go on one way. So that's great, for instance, where we want to do our repair up here. Got these hoses in the way. You take the tie wrap, go around this bunch of hoses. Oh, bear with me here. Take that end, this one, pull it through. Go over this angle so you can see here. And that's great for that type of thing. So this is where we're going to be doing our repair. Looking here now, you can't really see what it is that has to be repaired, but I'll turn on the vehicle and you'll see it quick enough then. Here's our issue here. We've got a leak in this pipe, and it's a pretty severe leak. If I put my screwdriver down over it, you should see the water squirting out of there. So we're going to do a repair on that. So it's actually a couple hours later than the last time I shot our video, because I wanted to let all this dry. Because to do a repair like this, obviously you want it as dry as possible. I've cleaned up our pipe here with the leak. Everyone's got their own techniques for doing repairs like this. I actually like to use this fiberglass, which is used for drywall. And what I like about it is, I'll cut this little end off here, because that usually tends to be it'll lose some of its adhesion there. And cut that off. It's got a bit of glue on it, so when you go to do a repair, it'll stay in place. Then we're going to use our hose clamp. These things are awesome. You can use a flathead screwdriver on it to open it up. Ideally though, to tighten these or loosen these, you want to use a socket. In this case it's an 8mm. Pretty simple. You turn that just like anything else in my socket here. If I'm going clockwise, I'm tightening the clamp. Counterclockwise loosens the clamp. As I said, you can also use the flathead screwdriver. You see the idea here. Hose clamp opens up like that. You put it around whatever it is that you want to clamp down on. You stick the end, that end of the hose clamp back into, see if I can show you that, like that. It has to catch inside the clamp itself. You kind of might have to hold it in place like that, and then start turning that screw clockwise. See if I can show this. And you'll see that that clamp is tightening up on the hose. So like I say, these are great for repairs on the run. Here's my fiberglass. I cut it widthwise in half because it's too wide to go around my pipe. What I like about this, I've used JB Weld, or as I said, some of the other similar products for this kind of repair. I personally find if you put some fiberglass or some screen mesh, whatever it is that you're using around that for the repair, the JB Weld will really hold a lot better when it's something like this with a mesh type of thing to hold it in place. So here's our fiberglass all around the area we're going to do the repair on. Next, we're going to put the JB Weld over that. This putty is pretty straightforward how to use it. I'll always mix up more than I figure I'm gonna need. Just take that little cover off there. What they have is two different chemicals, or whatever you want to call it here. The outside, the gray one, and the inside, and you have to knead this together, cut off a hunk of it and then knead it together until it's all the same color. So I'm gonna take a hunk of that off. This stuff is fairly expensive. I shouldn't say that, but I think I paid $8 or $9 in Canada for that tube here, but it's well worth it in my opinion. Good time for gloves, by the way. So just mix that up until you don't have two separate colors there. That's pretty much one color there now, so I'm going to apply that over our fiberglass. I'm going to just take little portions of this and start pushing it on there. This has a 5-minute set time, so it'll start getting hard in about 5 minutes, and according to the instructions it's fully cured in about an hour. In my experience, that's about right. So I'm just going to start pushing that over my repair. I'm not gonna make you watch that whole process. Here's the epoxy is all around our pipe here. I probably waited a little bit too long for this whole thing to dry because it's getting kind of dark. I'm hoping this is going to come out. Anyway, there's all the epoxy over the repair, and now I'm going to let that sit for a couple of minutes just to cure a little bit, and then I'm going to put 2 hose clamps around that to hold that whole thing in place. Here we are with our hose clamps on. I had to use a larger hose clamp. You can see all the excess here. That's not a problem. I'll just cut that off. And there it is with the excess cut off of our hose clamps. Not very pretty, but I think it should work. Here's the repair, completely finished. The vehicle's running now. You can see there's no leak anymore. I also put some liquid tape over the whole thing just to keep it from corroding. I do want to clarify, this video is about how to use some handy tools, not on how to fix a coolant leak in your system. This is a temporary repair I've done here, and this is an older vehicle. I would not do this kind of repair on a vehicle I'd spent any amount of money on, because there's always the possibility with something like that it could fail.